It has to be emphasized how insane this situation is. I served in a White House where the president was being impeached while I was there. Like any White House, there was plenty of leaking that was going on and people giving quotes on background as senior administration officials in various stories. That happens all the time. And there were efforts to try to figure out who was leaking and gossip and that kind of thing. But to have an all-out assault on the president from within either the White House or the senior ranks of his administration is without parallel in modern American history, maybe with the exception of the last week of the Nixon administration. So this is crazy. This is unlike anything we've ever seen. To your question, though, I think he or she would have achieved more if they had simply come out publicly and said, I resign in protest. This president is unfit for office. You need to know what's happening, and I'm going to tell you.
Matt, as crazy as this is, do you see any real impact on policy?
Well, it's a good question. With all of the tumult around President Trump, it seems that nothing ever really knocks them into a new direction. So it's hard to say. What I think you should look for is every bit of chaos makes it harder for the president to achieve anything. And right now, for example, he's trying to cut a deal with Canada and Mexico to redo NAFTA. He'll need congressional approval to do that. With a dysfunctional administration, that's going to go from very hard to probably impossible. So it could have impact, or it could just be more of the same Trump lunacy.
Matt, what do you make of the pushback from the president and administration officials against the New York Times in particular? And a further question, if the anonymous writer has come out today to deny publicly that it was them, would the New York Times then have an obligation to say that was the anonymous writer was amongst that pack?
Oh, I don't think so. I'm not an expert in ethics of journalism, but I will say Mark Felt, who was revealed after he died by Bob Woodward to be Deep Throat in the Watergate stories, denied it all the time. He denied it from the very beginning. He was asked this over and over and over, and his anonymity was maintained until after he died, which was the deal that Woodward and Bernstein cut with him. So I think it's quite possible the Times would stay silent. In fact, likely they would stay silent. I think that it's ridiculous for the White House to complain about this. They complain all the time about background quotes and anonymous sources, but then they use them also. So they're speaking outside both sides of the mouth.
I mean, one thing we're trying to figure out, and I think investors are trying to figure out, Matt, is does this have any implications for his high-stakes negotiations that you referenced going on with China, with Canada, with Mexico, with Europe, all happening at once? So draw on your own personal experience as working for a president that was being impeached, President Clinton. Did it undermine his negotiations and his relationships on foreign policy?
Well, I think it's possible that it did a little bit, but President Clinton was an incredible compartmentalizer. He was cutting deals with the impeachment managers in the House over the budget at the same time that they were trying to impeach him. So that guy just believed that, you got to get the people's business done. With Trump, everything is so personal that it's very likely that foreign leaders are concluding that he will be too distracted to be an effective negotiator. So I think you could see foreign leaders, particularly in hostile countries, but even in allies that Trump is aggravating, really trying to take advantage of the United States. It could be dangerous.